Dean Williamson, the star search in Dallas now. Mike McCarthy's out, but who is in? You could argue it's maybe the most coveted job from brand perspective in the NFL. As we welcome in Adam Schefter and Ryan Clark. And Adam, I'll start with you. Walk us through the latest on the Cowboys search for a new head coach.
Well, Matt, the permission slip to the Philadelphia Eagles offices arrived earlier today to interview Philadelphia offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, a former assistant coach in Dallas, who is expected to interview for the Cowboys head coaching job virtually this weekend. Moore is considered by many to be a logical candidate, somebody that knows Jerry Jones, know how the organization operates, and he's going to have a chance to land that head coaching job in Dallas. The Cowboys also have looked in the direction of the former New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh, who is a candidate with the Las Vegas Raiders, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Saleh clearly drawing interest during this hiring cycle. We'll see if he's able to land one of these head coaching jobs. And of course, the biggest name candidate connected to the Dallas Cowboys head coaching job is none other than Deion Sanders himself, Coach Prime. He and Jerry Jones have spoken. Deion Sanders has said he is intrigued with the job. Again, he wasn't thinking of the NFL, but when Jerry Jones calls, there's too much respect and love not to listen. And so we'll see what goes on with the Cowboys search, where that brings Jerry Jones and whether or not that brings him back to Deion Sanders. And one other note, a lot of people say, well, this is just Deion Sanders getting a bargaining chip out there for leverage for a new deal in Colorado, to which Prime said to me, I don't need any more leverage. That's not what this is about. I'm me. LOL. So I don't think he views it in any way, shape, or form like he's trying to get a better deal out of Colorado.
Yeah, he is the leverage. He doesn't need it there at Colorado. He's built that program into a national name in the matter of 2 years. And RC, you heard that list of coaches. I mean, that's a different list of I've ever heard with offense, defense, and prime. What type of coach does Dallas need moving forward?
I mean, when you think about the type of coach that Dallas needs, you need one that's different from the coaches they've had since Barry Switzer. Not someone who wants to be Jerry's friend or someone who doesn't have an opportunity with the power of his voice to push back on things that they don't like. But you also need someone that understands what it's like to be in the locker room of the Dallas Cowboys, what it's like for that personality to reign over your team and that sort of microscope to be within that locker room. And so I think it's very difficult to pick a coach because he has to manage two jobs. He has to manage the locker room and being the head coach of the players, but also the go-between Jerry Jones and what happens on the grass.
Yeah, and you look at Kellen Moore, he makes sense of the fact that he's been there, he understands, and then we talked about Prime and why he makes sense. He could go into Jerry's office and be like, Jerry, stand down, I got this. Switching gears to the former Cowboys head coach, we know the Bears completed their interview, Adam, with Mike McCarthy on Wednesday. What can you share about how things went?
Well, he was with the Bears executives yesterday. It's hard to imagine the former Green Bay Packers head coach would be in meetings with the Chicago Bears officials. But look, Mike McCarthy, they know what he would bring to that organization, what he would mean for the growth of their young rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams. And that's what that would be about. He has helped develop quarterbacks. He knows how to run an organization. And RC can address this as he and Marcus Spears have in the past. Mike McCarthy has got more respect amongst players than people even realize. And I think the Bears recognize that, the credibility that he would bring, went through the process. He's going to talk to the New Orleans Saints as well at some point in time here, and we'll see how the Bears head coaching search, where it goes and what roads it takes, but obviously still are in the process. But McCarthy clearly is a candidate.
Yeah, Ryan, we had talked about how there aren't too many active winning Super Bowl head coaches just running around available for hire who have an offensive mind, which is what Caleb Williams says he wants as his head coach. So from your perspective, what qualities should the Bears be looking for?
Well, I mean, first of all, you need someone that can build an organization, someone that understands what it's like to take a young quarterback, to take a young talented team and be able to organize and delegate and put them in a place to grow and succeed. And I believe in Mike McCarthy, you have that. You also want a head coach that's had success with quarterbacks. And when you think of Mike McCarthy, whether you go Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, obviously Dak Prescott in Dallas, we've seen him do that as well. But I don't think the Mike McCarthy hire would be about what he knows about X's and O's, but what he knows about leading a locker room full of men. I spoke with Micah Parsons yesterday and got a chance to interview him on Inside the NFL. And I asked him why he always praised Mike McCarthy so highly. And he said when he was going through things with his family and with his children, McCarthy gave him the time off that he needed to make sure those things were situated correctly. He checked in with him consistently and constantly in his office to not talk about football, but to talk about his life away from the field. And that's the sort of coach that understands how you build up men, not only players. And that's the type of coach that a Caleb Williams could need.
Yeah, it's a locker room full of adults. They are professional adults. And and how they coexist within that space is what makes success or gets a coach fired if they can't handle it. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears do. Gentlemen, that is off the field. Christine, let's go on the field for the weekend.
Yes, Matt, we're just 2 days until Saturday's divisional round games. The Texans and the Chiefs, they kick it off at Arrowhead on ESPN. Patrick Mahomes is 6-0 in his divisional round career, the most quarterback wins in a single round without a loss in NFL history. The rookie, Jaden Daniels, can make some history with the Commanders in his first career divisional round game. A win would tie Ben Roethlisberger for the most by a rookie in NFL history. New on SportsCenter, Dan Campbell and Dan Quinn spoke today about their matchup. That's new.
They've had a fantastic year. Just utilizing guys in different ways. The production, I think, is what just absolutely jumps out to you for different players. And so sometimes you may see one player just absolutely off the charts, but when it's spread, so much, that's a big difference. And that's what makes their offense, such a unique challenge.
I think the most important thing is it doesn't matter where you're at, where you're seated, how many wins you have. You got to stay hungry. And our team's hungry. I think we enjoy it. We enjoy it. We embrace this. We love the atmosphere. We love everything about this, man. And I just feel like we thrive in this.
All right, Ryan Clark is back. And RC, Washington has already pulled off one road upset, but they're up against this very dominant Lions team. What is the Commanders' key on Saturday to get a win?
I think it's about third and fourth down efficiency. I know you look at the Washington Commanders and you think to yourself, okay, this team barely uses their punter, Tress Wade, but it's not because they stay ahead of the sticks. It's because on third and fourth downs, we've seen Jaden Daniels be able to execute at an extremely high level. And you need to steal possessions away from the Detroit Lions, who have one of the most potent offenses in all of the NFL. And so if Jaden Daniels can be dialed in the way we saw him against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or the way they've executed at the top of the league on fourth down throughout the entire season, that's going to be extremely important to stealing possessions away from the Detroit Lions.
It would be so huge if Jaden Daniels was able to pull off this upset. We'll see if he's able to do it. RC, don't go anywhere. Matt?
Yeah, because that's Saturday. Here's Sunday's divisional round showdowns. You've got Saquon Barkley and the Eagles taking on the Rams. And in Week 12, he recorded 302 scrimmage yards. That's the most scrimmage yards for a player who then faced that team again in the playoffs. So if you didn't see enough of that once, well, you'll see him again. And Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen likely finished first and second in the MVP voting in some order. The last players who met in the playoffs and finished 1-2 in MVP voting, Brett Favre and Jerry Rice, 1995. What a great nugget there as Schefter joins the conversation again. Zay Flowers, the biggest question mark for Baltimore. What's the latest availability for him this weekend, Shefty?
Didn't practice yesterday, Matt. Not a good sign for his availability for Sunday night's game against the Buffalo Bills. Now, he went down in the regular season finale against the Cleveland Browns, had a knee sprain. The Ravens knew he wouldn't be able to play in the opening wild card game against the Steelers. Were hoping that there was a chance that they could get him back for Sunday night's game against the Buffalo Bills. The Ravens head coach John Harbaugh has said that Zay Flowers doesn't have to practice this week to play Sunday night against.
Being a Cowboys fan isn't just frustrating, it's exhausting. Year after year, we ride the same roller coaster of hope and heartbreak, only to end up right where we started. And now, instead of preparing for a playoff game, we're stuck watching another head coaching search unfold. A coaching change should bring excitement, right? A fresh start, a new vision, a real shot at success. But with Jerry Jones running the show, it's hard to feel anything other than deja vu. We've seen this before, we've lived it, and deep down, you already know how this story ends. So here's the question, do you actually believe this search will lead to the right hire? Or is Jerry just setting us up for another disappointment? Let me know in the comments, drop a yes if you're optimistic, or a nitrogen monoxide if you think this will be another Cowboys disaster. And trust me, this is just the beginning, because the deeper we go, the worse it gets. You'd think coaching the Dallas Cowboys would be one of the most coveted jobs in the NFL, but the truth? It's more of a trap than an opportunity. Just ask Troy Aikman. Back in 2007, he warned that coaching this team would be a challenge. Now, in 2025, he's even more blunt, saying that most coaches want to run things their way, and in Dallas, that's nearly impossible. And he's right, Jerry Jones isn't just the owner. He's the GM, the face of the franchise, and the final decision maker on everything. Jason Garrett knows this all too well. He spent years as head coach trying to balance coaching the team and managing Jerry's involvement. He admitted it, coaching here requires more than X's and O's. You have to lead upward in the organization. So let's be real, who would even want this job under those conditions? Tell me in the comments, would you want to coach the Cowboys under Jerry? And if you think this coaching search is bad now, wait until you hear the list of candidates. If you were hoping for a fast, efficient coaching search, I've got bad news for you. This isn't 2010 when Wade Phillips was fired midseason and Jason Garrett was the obvious choice. This isn't even 2020 when Mike McCarthy was hired almost overnight. No, this time, Jerry is dragging it out, and that never ends well. Right now, the list of candidates isn't exactly inspiring. Kellen Moore? He's got history with the team, but no head coaching experience. Leslie Frazier? He's 65, and his last shot as a head coach didn't go so well. Robert Saleh, his tenure with the Jets was a disaster. B. Honest, does any name on this list excite you? Drop a comment with the coach you'd actually want to see in Dallas. And here's where it gets really interesting. Because as uninspiring as this list is, there are two names floating around that would send shockwaves through the NFL, and trust me, you're gonna want to hear this. Now, let's talk about the two names that have everyone buzzing: Deion Sanders and Jason Witten. Two Cowboys legends to massive question marks. Deion would be the ultimate headline hire. Imagine the energy, the chaos, the media frenzy. Jerry and prime time together, that's reality TV gold. But let's be real, would Deion actually leave Colorado for this? And even if he did, could he handle the circus that comes with being Jerry's head coach? Then there's Witten, a Hall of Fame Cowboy, but coaching a private high school team. Argyle is a long way from leading America's team. Could Jerry be grooming him for a bigger role? Maybe not head coach, at least. Don't be surprised if he ends up on the staff. So which would you rather see, Deion or Witten? Drop their name in the comments, and let's see who Cowboys Nation would roll with. And now, let's talk about why this entire search feels like history repeating itself. If all of this feels familiar, that's because it is. Jerry Jones has been down this road before, and somehow, he keeps making the same mistakes. Back in 2007, after Bill Parcells walked away, Jerry ran a coaching search that felt endless. He interviewed everyone: Ron Rivera, Jim Caldwell, Mike Singletary, even a young Todd Bowles. But in the end, he settled on Wade Phillips. A safe, unremarkable choice. Sound familiar? That search took 17 days and ended with Jerry fighting back tears, saying, "I wanted to get this one right." But did he? The Wade era was more of the same: playoff heartbreak and wasted potential. Now, almost a decade later, Jerry is running it back. Same drawn-out process, same questionable candidates. So be honest, do you trust Jerry to get it right this time? Vote in the comments, yes or nitrogen monoxide. Because at the end of the day, no matter who Jerry hires, we might be the ones crying.